Hi everyone, it's CoolRiceBunnies, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make TOMS charms, and they just look like this. So some of the supplies you're going to need are clay, and the colors of clay that you're going to use really depends on what kind of TOMS shoe you're going to be making. So I highly recommend going to the TOMS website and looking at all the different types of shoes, because the color of the sole changes with each kind of shoe. So today I'm going to be making a pink TOMS shoe. I'm going to be using Sculpey 3 in the color Ballerina, Primo in the color white for the tag, and Primo's Ecru for the sole. Other things you're going to need is ball tool, a blade tool, eye pins or head pins if you want to turn it into a charm, and you're also going to need paint. So you need white acrylic paint, black acrylic paint, brown acrylic paint, and a light blue color for the flag. And I just mixed this myself. So to start this tutorial, just take your Ecru clay or tan clay, whatever it is, and flatten it down into this kind of foot shape. And just make sure the top of the shape is a little bit pointed. And just do this with your fingers until you get something that looks like this. Next, I'm going to take the pink clay, and I'm basically just going to shape it into the form of like the tip of a ballerina slipper. It's a little hard to explain, but you guys can just watch what I'm doing here. And I'm taking my blade tool, and I want to cut it to a little bit less than half the length of the sole. So I'm just softening up the hard edge, and I'm simply just going to place it on top of the tan clay, and I'm patting it down, and it should look something like this. It kind of looks like a slipper. Now we're going to do the back part of the TOMS shoe, and all we're going to do with this is take the rest of the clay and roll it into a coil, and then flatten out the coil with our fingers. And you can use a rolling pin if you like, but you just want it to be this kind of thickness, not too thin or else it'll be too flimsy. And I'm just going to take my blade tool, and I'm going to cut a long rectangular shape. And you just want to make sure that it's about the same height as the first part that we made for the shoe, like the first pink part of the shoe. And basically, I'm just going to wrap it around the shoe and make sure that it overlaps that front piece a little bit. And I'll show you how much it should overlap. And you basically just want it to overlap that much. So I took my blade tool and I marked it, and I'm just going to cut off that excess clay. And then after I cut that excess clay, I'm basically just going to wrap it around again. And when you wrap it around, you want it to sit on top of the clay, the tan clay, as I'm doing here. So just make sure you wrap it around, and I'm just securing it. And then after you've done that, you can blend it in with your fingers, or a blending tool, doesn't matter, but I just like to use my fingers. And then while I'm blending it, I also like to soften the hard edge on the back piece of clay by patting it down with my fingers. And you can just try to blend it in a little bit with the tan clay, but not too much that it completely disappears. And you can always take your blade tool and kind of make that edge a little bit more straight. As you can see that I'm doing here, I'm just sticking the blade in a little bit between the two colors and lifting it upwards a little bit. But you don't want to lift it up too much that the clay comes completely apart. But it should look something like this. Now I'm just going to take the ball tool, and we're going to hollow out the front piece of clay just a little bit. So I'm sticking it in less than halfway through that front piece of clay, and I'm lifting the ball tool up. And this is going to lift that front kind of flap of the shoe a little higher than the back piece. But you guys can basically see what I'm doing here, and you can also use the ball tool to blend in the pieces of clay inside. But just stick it in a little less than halfway through and lift up the tool, and you're going to get something that looks like this. Now I'm going to show you guys how to do the indents on the TOMS shoe. So take any kind of blade tool, or you can use like an eye pin or something like that, anything that will make an indent. And I'm basically just doing like a diagonal, a small triangle at the top, and then another triangle to outline that one. And I can't really explain too much, and I'm sorry for my hair. I'm like hovering over the camera. But I really recommend just looking at pictures of TOMS shoes, or if you own any, just look at them and just look at where the stitching is, because These details are really what make the TOMS shoe look like a TOMS shoe. And again, I'm sorry about my hair. I should really tie my hair when I do tutorials, but I didn't think about it. So yeah, those are the lines that you should make on your TOMS shoe. It just basically looks like that. So now, as for the bottom sole of the shoe, I just made kind of random lines. So I did like 2 diagonals, some curved lines in the middle, diagonals across that, and then 2 more lines at the bottom. You can basically do whatever you want. Now for the flag on the back of the shoe, this step is really simple. Just take your white clay, flatten it out, and you pretty much want it to be a really good thinness like this. Cut it into a little rectangle. And then we're just simply going to pick this up and attach it to the back part of the shoe. And you want it to be above the tan part of the clay, but right in the center. And you can always take your blade tool, if it got a little misshapen, and straighten it out so it looks more like a rectangle. And I'm just patting it, and it should look like this. So now you can take your eye pin or head pin and attach it to the front of the shoe, and you can bake this according to your clay's package directions. Now it's time to paint the rest of the details onto the shoe. So I'm taking that light blue color and I'm basically just painting 2 stripes, one at the top and one at the bottom of the white piece of clay, and this will give you your flag. And then I'm going to take some white paint and I'm going to be painting the side tag on the shoe. And it's just a small triangle, rectangle, I'm sorry. And this part is optional, but the inside part of TOMS shoes are leather, so I'm painting the inside brown. And if you do this and you get paint on the edges of your clay, you can always fix this by taking a clean paintbrush dipped in clean water and rubbing it on the paint. And that's basically what I did to get the extra paint off, and I'm just wiping off the water with a piece of paper. So now that it's all clean, I'm just painting on the word TOMS with black paint. And this will take a steady hand, so don't get frustrated. If you mess up, you can always paint over it. And yeah, so after you've done this, you're pretty much done. You can glaze it, and then you should just get something that looks like this. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial, and if you make a TOMS shoe charm, you can leave me a video response or maybe send me a picture on Twitter. All my information is down below. But yeah, I hope you guys have a nice day, and I'll talk to y'all soon. Bye!